Welcome to the Body Bag Podcast. I'm your host, Brokewriterdave, and with me, co-host Chris Thomas.
Greetings, everyone. Over the next hour, you will consume constructive criticism, allegory, monologue, jokes. But do not just hear us. Listen. That's my Slowick like impression.
Oh,
That's my pretentious
and
Slowick.
yes, today we are going to be reviewing probably the best movie for me out of 2022, The Menu.
That goes the same for me. I was happy that I was able to end out 2022 with a really surprisingly good movie.
Yeah, like 2022, like the two best movies were The Menu and The Barbarian.
Yeah, and so that's well, I mean, if you're already listening to this, you already know that we like The Menu since it's on our grab bag list. But yes, it was.
Yeah,
I was happy when you kept me from having to choose it, so I got to watch a movie that I really liked.
exactly. I just finished rewatching it about half hour ago. Such a good movie.
I was like halfway through rewatching it again, and I remember everything because I had watched it again before. I'm going to watch the other half again after reviewing it again. It'd be a good way to cap off the day.
But before we get to that, we do have some homework to go over.
Or, as we call it, Chris's ongoing battle to get Dave to like something. Well, first off, what were our homework assignments?
You gave me the Burbs,
Burbs,
while I gave you Ginger Snaps.
Ginger Snaps. And before we go, I'm actually going to go first this time, since I think every single time I've been wanting you to go first just because I've been anxious to hear, did I get you this time? So this time I'm going to start off with Ginger Snaps, if that's okay.
Perfectly okay.
So Ginger Snaps is kind of one of those that I had always heard about but never watched. And
Yeah, it's definitely like a cult classic in the horror community. Like non-horror fans probably have never heard of it, but if you're in the horror community, you've at least heard of the movie.
yeah, when you surround yourself with other people who like horror, that is a name that gets thrown around. And so I knew going into it a little bit about that the name is a play on words. Ginger Snaps, the main character, is named Ginger.
Yeah.
And I knew vaguely that the whole movie was kind of like an allegory for young women going into womanhood, experiencing like that time of the month, their first time going into puberty type stuff. So my thoughts on it, going into this, I will go ahead and say I think that Dave has a better idea of the kind of movies to recommend to me than I do him, because before I even like get into it, like what's one thing that I'm gonna give it props for?
Practical effects.
Practical effects, exactly. No CG in this movie, none. And so Dave definitely knows the kind of movies to be like, all right, well, even if Chris hates it, he's at least going to give it points for this. So story, two sisters, very much, this movie came out in exactly the year 2000, and two sisters, very emo-ish, very I hate the world, very anti, like, fuck those cheerleaders, we're going to be over here smoking cigarettes and hating on people kind of teenager.
Yeah, kind of us against the world type of deal with the sisterhood. Yeah,
you know the type. But I will say, very good photographers. They like taking pictures of the morbid and the macabre and all of that business. And they're on the cusp of hitting puberty, which is kind of what the whole movie is a metaphor for. And one of the sisters
they're like what, 14, 15, going to freshman year type deal.
Ginger is 16. Her sister Bridget is 15. And in movies like this, I always find it interesting. I always look up the actresses' ages, especially if they're in high school, to see if how if they were cast, if they got teenagers to play teenagers or older people to play teenagers. And what I thought was interesting was actress who plays Ginger was 18, playing a 16-year-old. And the actress playing her sister Bridget was 23, playing a 15-year-old. So they got
what?
So they got the older person to play the younger sister, which I thought was a weird choice, but it also kind of makes sense, which is I kind of gave it an extra point for, because later on the younger sister very much has to kind of be the older sister in this situation. She has to take on the responsibility when all the stuff is going to hell. So it actually was pretty interesting how that kind of worked. Long story short, one of the sisters gets bit by a werewolf and starts slowly. This isn't one of those on a full moon. That's when they changed. Apparently, in this universe, you just slowly start turning into a werewolf. Like,
Yeah.
that's just the deal.
Yeah. It's a fun deal.
It's fun. So different take. A different take on werewolves, because as I was watching, I was like, this seems more like vampire lore kind of stuff, just because of the way she's just kind of gradually changing rather than. But the fact that she's turning into an animal, it makes sense for the allegory they're going for.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, it's a cool take. Ginger starts becoming a real asshole, more so than usual. Not the fun-loving asshole, but the
werewolf aggressive asshole.
But I'm gonna even be mean to my sister, and I'm gonna scratch up boys while I'm having sex.
In the trunk, yeah.
In the trunk. Which, that's one little thing I'll say about this, is that I think that her attitude change was a little too drastic right off the bat. Her physical changes were kind of gradual. Starts out, she starts getting like hair, like where her where she got kind of clawed up, and she starts getting a small tail that starts growing, but it's like her attitude changed like the very next day.
Yeah.
So if I had to criticize anything, it would probably be a little bit of that. Meanwhile, there's the local drug dealer, Sam.
Yeah, the bad boy.
Yeah, the bad boy. Which, my dude, I love that dude. He's the school drug dealer, deals drugs out of van, and is very much into lycanthropy and knows all about werewolves, because on the night that Ginger gets attacked, they're running away from the werewolf, and he hits it with his car. Doesn't know what it is, he just knows he hits something. And he teams up with younger sister Bridget, and they're trying to find a cure, basically. Ginger's getting worse, getting more violent, accidentally starts off with killing a dog, then moves its way up to the school bully, and then she's just killing to sate her appetite.
Yeah. No, but one thing I'll say about the drug dealer character, he kind of reminds me of Josh Hartnett's character in The Faculty.
Yeah, he was very much like that. That's actually a very good comparison. I was trying to think of someone to. The only thing I could think of, like, he's like the Fear Street kids. He just wheels and deals. In fact, I don't even think he goes to that school. You never see him in class. I think he just happens to be around.
Yeah.
You never see him in the school. He would just always drive up to the school, deal, and then drive away. Which apparently, like, the school. So what I am guessing, and maybe you can clarify this. I'm guessing he hooked up with the cheerleader chick and then kind of dumped her, but she still hadn't gotten over him. I'm guessing that he took her virginity because she said that he was like a cherry popper.
I believe so. It's been a while since I've actually watched this movie.
Because everybody's thinking that because Bridget is trying to use him as a means to an end to like help get a cure for Ginger.
Yeah.
And Ginger, as well as the other girls, are thinking, oh, she's just trying to like sleep with him and hook up, which is weird because that's what all of the girls are doing. It's so funny that they'll make fun of other girls thinking that they're doing that, but everybody's like 15 to 17, and all of them are just going to school and having sex and smoking weed. Yeah. I mean, that is life in this small town.
If you're not in the in crowd, you get made fun of for it. So,
and if you're part of the in crowd and you try to get violent with the outcast sister, you will get your ass beat by a werewolf lycanthrope. So Ginger gets worse. They eventually find a cure, but at this point, near the end, Ginger is just too far gone. Like at this point, she's like, I don't even care if you're my sister anymore. I know we had this pact and blah blah blah. And at the end, she goes full werewolf, and it ends in a showdown at the house. And long story short, gets impaled accidentally with a knife because Bridget was defending herself with a knife, and then Ginger lunges for her. At this point, she is full werewolf and full prosthetic, and basically dies. That's the very short, run through of the whole movie.
Which makes me intrigued on how there's a sequel.
There's two. Apparently, there's Ginger Snaps 2 and Ginger Snaps Back.
Yeah, like I do want to watch them because I did enjoy the first one.
Apparently, both actresses are in the sequel.
Yeah, that's why I kind of want to watch them. They brought the main actresses back, so
So what did I think? I already told you that I like the prosthetic effects on this. Now, is this listed as a horror comedy? Because it did have a fair amount of comedy in it. It did have a fair amount of humor. Well, I'll just say, even if it's not listed as such, there are some funny moments in it.
yeah, it's listed as a horror fantasy.
All right. Well, there's some funny moments in it, and I love the dad is just trying to live his life, and he's just sitting there at dinner, just trying to eat, and their mother must be. I couldn't imagine being married to the mother. Like, that dude looks like he's miserable in this marriage.
Yeah,
To the point where at the end, the mother finds out that that Ginger has killed one of the missing girls that's gone missing in the town, and is like, "Get your sister. We're gonna burn the house down and just start a new life." And they're like, "What about Dad?" And she's like, "Oh, he would just blame me, and he would just like they're just completely willing to just leave the dad." I was like, damn, this dude is just trying to like. He has one of my favorite lines in the whole thing. Ginger's already changed, and they think that she's just going through puberty, and the mom's like, "Oh, the girls are just being normal teenagers." And then the dad says, "Then why do they care about what you have to say?"
yeah.
I was like, good point. Well, in fact, why would they, like, they're being normal teenagers? Teenagers don't care about what parents have to say.
No, not at all.
Dude was just trying to, like, he had the best facial expressions. And story. I'll go ahead and do my breakdown.
Huh?
Technicals, it was going to be an 8. They put a lot of,
Yeah.
I kind of thought it was going to be an 8 when I saw the opening picture montage, and it was, they took pictures of themselves, like, in various death, kind of like faces of death.
Yeah.
And a lot of effort went into like the staging and prosthetics. So I was like, okay, if this is what it's going to be like for the rest of the movie, I'm going to, at least enjoy it on a prosthetics level. Story, I'm also going to give an 8.
Okay.
It was a solid 8. It was a different take on a werewolf. And it wasn't just a full moon and then they become ravenous. It was like, you slowly turn into a werewolf, and then once you're a werewolf, you're just a werewolf.
Yeah.
I appreciated the allegory. I understood it, even though it was very repetitive sometimes. But I appreciated it. I think that if it was a little longer, it would have been a little too long, but it was an hour and like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe, I think it could have been an hour and a half, but I wasn't like checking my watch or anything. So it was, the story's fine. Enjoyment, I was teetering between an 8, but the fact that they killed Sam made me dumb it down to a 7.
Okay.
Sam, the second he started helping out, I was like, this dude's gonna die. This
You can do it. Yeah.
This dude is way too helpful. I like the character, and everything I love dies. And out of the kindness, he ain't asking for anything. Everybody's accusing him of like trying to hook up with the 15-year-old sister. He's like, no, it ain't even like that.
We're just working together on something. Yeah.
Dude who's a drug dealer had the most level head of anybody in this situation.
Right.
And not only did they kill him, but they faked you out, making you think, oh, he's still alive, and then he died again.
Yeah.
So, Ginger Snaps, technicals 8 for me. I really enjoyed the prosthetic story. Pretty original, like the allegory, 8. Enjoyment, 7.
So 23 out of 30.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, that's a fair spot on score right there.
Now, before we go into yours, I just need to preface this with the audience. Up to this point, I have given Dave a 80s slasher, a Japanese cyberpunk body horror, a Australian mockumentary, and now I gave him an intentionally cheesy suburban thriller. And I don't know what he's going to say. I don't know what his review is going to be of this, but I just needed to at least just put that out there, because if he hates this one too, I don't know what to do. So,
I'm just gonna put it out there. I like most 80s slashers. He just kind of gave me one of the worst ones. And I do love found footage movies, and some mockumentary ones are really good. I just found Lake Mungo super boring and dry. And then that body horror I just felt like went too far.
Okay.
A little much.
All right, so I'll let you go ahead.
All right. And then you made me watch The Burbs.
Well, the fact that you said made me means you don't like it.
Because I really enjoyed this movie.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. I was like, it's supposed to be a cheesy, goofy suburban thriller.
I love cheesy sometimes. Had Tom Hanks. It wasn't like overly cheesy where you're just like, oh, come on now. It was at that right level.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So even if you don't give it like 8s all around or 9s all, the fact that you didn't hate it, I'll at least say it's progress.
It's a movie I can see myself going back and watching again.
Well, that's good. And I think it's also appropriate because we just put out. Well, at this point, we just put out Summer of '84. So,
which is pretty similar in the story. Mm-hmm. So Tom Hanks is a guy. He's on vacation from work for a week.
He's trying to.
Yeah, and people in the suburbs on vacation. He just has a lot of time on his hands. But he also has some really eccentric, would be a good word to put the neighbors.
Yes.
That no one has ever seen. Sometimes they come out at night, but that's about it.
How eccentric? Well, one of them is Corey Feldman.
I'm not even talking about like the neighborhood. I'm talking about the actual neighbors that
yeah.
only come out at night, and just a bunch of weird things are happening at this house that's next to him. So he lives in the suburbs neighborhood. It's basically a cul-de-sac. And if you've lived out there, you know how people are. Super into everybody else's business.
Very nosy.
Yes. And so you got Tom Hanks. He's married to Carrie Fisher, which I was like, oh, she's in this movie.
Yeah, there's a couple of recognizable faces.
Yeah. And his wife is basically trying to get him to just leave, to go out to the lake for the week. And he's like, no, we'll do things around the house. I'm just going to hang out. I don't need to go to the lake.
Which, to his credit, he's trying to.
Yeah. And then his other neighbor, who was played by, what was his name? His other neighbor, Art.
Oh, yeah, Art.
Art's wife's gone for the week. So he also just doesn't have anything to do. Which kind of led to, like, one of my favorite scenes in the movie towards the beginning. So they're talking about the neighbor, and Art basically just comes into their house and starts eating all of their food.
That's the kind of friendly neighbor he just shows up uninvited. And
yeah, just walks to the house, starts eating their food, goes to the fridge, pulls out leftover ribs, starts eating those.
Accidentally eats dog food if you saw that bit.
Yeah. And Art he's like that overly, it's a good way to put it.
He's like Kramer from Seinfeld.
Yeah. So he starts putting it into his head that the neighbors are Satanists.
Cultists or something.
Yeah. Occultists. And Ray's like, I don't know. And then first they try to go to the house and ring the doorbell, and they get attacked by bees. Which brings in the third neighbor, who's like kind of like a retired military type.
He's the Burt Gummer.
Yeah, the Burt Gummer, played by Bruce Stern. He joins the team to help him out with spying and everything. And then the fourth neighbor is Corey Feldman, who's kind of like a teenager and his parents are gone. So he's just out painting the house. And he's kind of like the commentary of everything that's happening, making fun of everybody.
He's kind of like outside of everything, just watching it happen.
Yeah, I loved his character. I thought he was hilarious.
Just watching the hot neighbor lady garden and just
flirting with her, and then
talking like a surfer dude, and
yeah, he's out on the phone with his friends. He's like, "No, I don't want to go to the party. You guys come over here."
I just called the pizza dude.
Yeah, it's about to be fun over here watching my neighbors break into the other neighbor's house.
You just love how you start seeing more and more people show up at his house to watch all this stuff happen.
That's great. So all the neighbors finally meet the one eccentric neighbor family.
The Klopeks.
They give off Adam's family mixed with the Beverly Hillbillies type vibe.
Yeah, like a Slavic Beverly Hillbillies kind of.
Yeah. They all just get off vibes from the meeting. So they wait for them to leave the next day, and they break into the house.
As you do.
As you one do, and you think your neighbors are waiting, you just break into their house.
Well, they broke into the house because their neighbor went missing.
Yeah, there's an older guy in the neighborhood who lives by himself. He went missing.
And they broke into his house. Yeah. They broke into his house first.
Yeah. And then they realized he wasn't there, so they went to the eccentric neighbor's house, and they found the wig of the older neighbor.
Yes.
And that kind of was like, oh my god, they killed him. So we need to find evidence. So they break into their house. They go down to the basement where they see this giant industrial grade furnace.
Yeah, like a furnace you would never see in a house. Like,
no, it's basically a cremation furnace. You'd put bodies in it to cremate, basically. So they start digging and digging and digging as more people start gathering around Corey Feldman's house. The old retired vet neighbors on this roof on lookout. And the eccentric neighbors first drive by the house, being unseen, turn around and leave, go get the cops and come back. And basically, as soon as they get back, Tom Hanks, while digging in the basement, is like, oh, I hit something, I found it. He hit the gas line.
Yeah, they were looking for bones or something.
Yeah, they were looking for bones. And he hits the gas line and explodes his neighbor's house. Which I thought was going to bring me to an ending where I was going to hate it. Because I thought I was going to be like, oh, no, these guys never done anything wrong. They're just weird. And I was going to be so mad at that ending.
Oh, Tom Hanks is alive, by the way.
Yeah, he somehow lives. The house explodes, launches him like 40 feet in the air, and he just lands in the front yard.
Oh, no, he walks out of the house. Like, the entire house gets engulfed in flames, and he's at the episode, and he just walks out the house.
Yeah. He's all burnt, bruised up, and they basically are putting him in the ambulance. And while he's in the back of the ambulance, I don't know what happened to the EMS drivers.
Oh, yeah.
They just disappeared.
They're gone.
And in comes an eccentric neighbor asking him, where's the skull at? He's like, what? I didn't find the skull. He's like, no, I know you found it. Where's it at?
Because it's like the one place they didn't check was in the furnace.
Yeah.
And he was like, surely you checked the furnace. And then that's when Tom Hanks is like, oh, shit.
No. He's like, no, but Walter's alive, so you didn't kill him. He's like, I know. I killed your old neighbors because they didn't want to sell me the house.
Yep.
He's like, what? And then one of the other neighbors from this family starts driving the EMS, and Tom Hanks fights out, and they end up crashing the ambulance. They get out, and then causes like a huge chain link reaction of crashes, which bumps into the back of the neighbor's car and pops the trunk. It's filled with bones.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, we were right.
Oops.
Yeah. Don't fuck with the Burbs, basically.
Pretty much. And
then Corey Feldman looks down at the camera. I forgot what he said.
He says, God, I love this town, or something like that.
Yeah, God, I love this neighborhood. And then that's the movie. Basically breaking the fourth wall to look at us like, God, I love this neighborhood. So that is the movie.
It's pretty accurate description of it.
Yeah, Tom Hanks, not minding his own business, since spying on his neighbors because they're super weird.
To his credit, he was trying to, like, there's instances where he's just trying to hang out, but Art keeps bugging him, and he's like, I'm just sitting here trying to take a nap and just trying to get some sleep.
Right? Art's like overzealous. His wife's gone. Art has nothing to do, so he's bothering Ray.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So for the breakdown, technicals, I thought were fairly sound.
Yes.
There's like nothing that like blew me away, but there's nothing like egregious about it. So I'm gonna go with the 7.
Fair. And
then story, I enjoyed. I thought it was really funny. So I think I'm gonna give that 7.5. Yeah.
All right.
It's a good story. And then enjoyment, I'm gonna give it a 7.
Hey, so
really
far it's
enjoyable movie. Yeah.
So far, it's my best one yet that I have recommended.
For a total of 21.5. Which,
hey.
If it gets above a 20 for us, that's good.
Yeah, so I finally hit it. And I'm glad it was the Burbs. I was like, in my mind, I was like, all right, like I honestly I wouldn't have known what to give you after, because I was like, comedy is good.
Yeah.
So I think I know my wheelhouse for Dave is he loves to laugh. So
all right. So what are we gonna assign each other next?
All right, why don't you go ahead and give me yours first?
All right, I am going to give you a Japanese horror movie that's on Netflix.
Okay.
It's dubbed, so it's in English, but it's called Remember. But spelled RE/MEMBER.
Okay.
I really think this is a movie that's like in your wheelhouse that you'd enjoy.
Okay. So I'm actually for these 3, because there's so many movies that I want to recommend to you. And each of them like vastly different, that I don't know if I should just give you one, or I would have it so that I name you these 3 and you pick from it.
Just give me one.
Just give you one?
Yeah.
All right, I'll do this one. This one was one I just kind of want to get your opinion on. Right. You're going to be listening to a musical.
Okay.
you're going to be listening to Repo the Genetic Opera.
All right.
That one has plenty of familiar faces. One specifically that it'll be funny when you see them. But they have some. It's a musical. I like it. This one's also a cult one. So
yeah, I mean, I've seen Repo Man, which I believe was based on this. So
only a little bit. If you're talking about the one with Jude Law,
yeah,
the concept of reclaiming organs is about the only thing that's the only thing it has in common with this.
Okay.
You're going to watch this and be like, oh, this is way, way different than that movie. All right, so that's Remember and Repo the Genetic Opera.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm already happy that I at least got you to like at least one of my versions.
Got one, yeah.
At what point were you like, all right, this might be good?
I'd say probably towards the beginning, like I said, when the neighbor just kind of walks into his house, start eating his food, I got a chuckle out of that one.
You're like, all right, this is going to be a little goofy. So,
and you start seeing all the faces. I'm like, oh, I know a lot of these people. So I'm like, all right.
Like I said, I couldn't even call it really horror. I'd just call it more of a comedy thriller.
Yeah, it's definitely leans more into the comedy over the horror, but it works.
Okay. But something that we can both agree on, the menu.
The menu.
Again, I was so happy when you said that this was going to be your pick.
I was excited for this one.
And, much like with any good movie that I really, really like, I don't tend to watch it a lot. When I like something, I watch it maybe once a year.
Yeah, same here, because I really haven't rewatched it since my first watch.
But I remember pretty much most of everything that happens.
Yes.
When people think of Ralph Fiennes, they immediately think Voldemort and Harry Potter, but I think Ralph Fiennes is hilarious. The dude, if you've ever seen In Bruges, the dude is hilarious.
No, yeah. Yeah, I didn't really know much about Ralph Fiennes going into this, but he was pretty good in this movie. And I gotta say, was it Nicholas Hoult and then Anya Taylor-Joy?
Which I feel like Anya Taylor-Joy to me is what a lot of people feel about Jenna Ortega. I feel that way about Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, I think Anya Taylor-Joy and I think now Nicholas Hoult are like actors and actresses that are kind of getting to that level where if I see their name on a movie and know nothing else, I'm still going to sit down and watch it. Because
shortly after I watched this last year, Renfield came out.
Yeah, and I watched Renfield was about a month ago.
What'd you think of it? I forget.
It was pretty good. I don't think I liked it as much as you did, but I still really enjoyed it.
I enjoy just turning my brain off and having fun with it.
Yeah. So Nicholas Hoult, he is one of those actors I'm like, okay, if I see you're in something, I'm going to have to check it out, yeah.
He's so dreamy.
No,
Anya Taylor-Joy was looking good in this, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't think Jenna Ortega's there for me yet. Because everything I like her in, she's like a supporting character. I've yet to see her break out and be the main star of a movie yet.
Well, Beetlejuice is coming up, so...
Yeah, so...
Do you want to give a quick 1-2 sentence sum up of what this is?
Yep. A bunch of foodies are going to a restaurant on an island for a unforgettable food experience.
Yeah.
And the chef decides, fuck it, I'm going to kill them all.
I'm going to kill everybody because he has lost his passion for his art of culinary food making, and he wants to take it out on everybody who he believes robbed him of his passion.
He invites specific people to this evening, the ones that he blames for killing his passion for cooking.
And Anya Taylor-Joy as Margot, who wasn't supposed to be there, she was like a last-minute replacement by Nicholas Hoult, is the only person who wasn't specifically supposed to be there.
Yeah, and it throws Chef Slowick. It throws him off a little bit, seeing someone who is not supposed to be there, because this experience is kind of catered to everyone that was supposed to be there.
And your typical foodie critics are supposed to be the ones that can't just enjoy a meal for what it is, but have to just break it down, much like a critic, much like a movie critic.
Yeah.
Just break it down and not be able to something that's supposed to be this is supposed to be delicious, and then they'll eat it. Yeah. Intentional contrarians, I'll say.
Yeah. So they get to the island, they start getting the tour of the island, and on this island is where they get all their ingredients, and they're like, everything we have is here, so all the hospitality workers, sous chefs, servers, everything all live on this island.
Yeah, very. It's like you see it. It's like a military compound. They all like live together, and it's like, all right, because you go to something like this, and you're like, oh, fun food stuff. It's it'll probably be a nice lighthearted thing, and it's like you get there, and it's like we all bunk together. We all get up at 6 a.m. You're like, yeesh.
Yeah. They're like, do you ever get burnt out? She's like, no, we don't burn anything unless we do it to make it taste good.
Life of the party, you are.
Right. I forgot her name, but the one I was giving the tour and like kind of like the hostess of the evening.
It's like Elsa or something like that.
Yeah. She was really good in this movie.
Everything she said,
enjoyed her, yeah. Like she's so like stone faced and everything going on. She's just like, yeah, I'm down.
It's funny as more and more we like just descend into madness in this thing. Everybody is still just like delivering like straight faced lines.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you haven't seen it and you're wondering how Slowick is played by Ray Fiennes. He's like the head chef. He's like the world famous. He's very much like the Gordon Ramsay.
Yes, it's like a Gordon Ramsay type character, like very in control. If you ever watch Hell's Kitchen.
Yes, but doesn't really lose his temper like Gordon Ramsay.
No,
he can just insult you like passingly, and it just hurts all the same.
Yeah.
So it's like they're in for like a 4-hour. It's like it's supposed to be an entire night of I have prepared a very special meal for all of you.
What was it? 8-course meal,
something like that. And it was like at each. He says, I don't want you to eat. Our food is too good for you to eat. I want you to taste.
Yeah. And you could tell Anya Taylor-Joy's character is like a fish out of water in this environment.
Yeah. She's us.
Like, she's like, no. What the hell's going on here? Like, this is all right, I guess.
Yeah, she's trying, though. She's an escort, is that right?
Yeah, you find out later in the movie that Nicholas Holt's girlfriend broke up with him. So he hired an escort to come with him because this restaurant doesn't allow people to come alone.
Yeah, so she was supposed to just be his plus one.
Yeah.
His attractive dinner date, and like much like us, the fish out of water, where it's like you can tell she's trying to like enjoy it. Be like, okay, this is fun. I'm trying to get why you guys like this so much.
Yeah.
But then it's just like everybody's just so pretentious with how it's like, yes, this, I tasted a slight tint of algae and stuff. It's like it's like you're eating the ocean.
You're like eating the ocean. Oh, such a good line.
I was like, ugh.
And then she like kind of loses her shit a little bit when the next course is bread without that bread. It's just all the stuff you would put on bread with no bread.
It's making fun of those kind of restaurants that like they did this in Crazy. No, wait, was it Crazy? No, Always Be My Maybe. There's a. Have you seen that movie?
I might have.
It has Keanu Reeves in it, and they go to a restaurant, and it's like they're sitting there eating beef Wellington while listening to the sounds of the cow that was slaughtered as they eat. It's like just very, very pretentious.
Yeah. And she's like, you guys enjoy this? Like, this is awesome. This is great. And then you have the big time super food critic, a table over, and she's like, you got a very like a drop of sauce on her plate, and she looks at it, it's like, oh, this ambrosia is broken. And you shouldn't have this at a place like this.
Oh, and that was played by Jane Lynch, if I'm not mistaken. That food critic. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
I like Jane Lynch. I believe it was. I like Jane Lynch. Just throwing that name out there just because I'm a fan.
Yeah. And so what Chef Slowick does is he sends her a big bowl of the sauce that's broken. Here's some more broken
ambrosia
for you.
I love.
No, it wasn't Jane Lynch.
Oh, wasn't?
It was Janet McTeer.
Oh, she looks like Jane Lynch.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Never heard of her, so.
Oh, all right. Well, I like her anyway.
Yeah, she was good.
As the night goes on, you see Slowick's pettiness just get bigger and bigger. Yeah. You see the level of petty that this man has gone through all of this trouble to do. At what point?
Which brings us to the next course, which is where the night starts to get insane.
Yes.
The mess. He brings out his sous chef, and he's like, my sous chef? He's good, but he'll never be great.
No, he won't.
He'll never be me. Do you want my life? Yeah, you'll never have it. And I give you the mess. And his sous chef just shoots himself.
Just kills himself right there on the spot.
And then they bring him out pressure cooked beef with bone marrow.
It's like, my sous chef just killed himself. Now for your next meal.
Yeah.
And that's the point where it's like, oh shit.
You got Anya Taylor-Joy freaking out, and Nicholas Holt's character is just like, oh my god, this food's so good.
Yes, Nicholas Hoult is in another world.
He don't give a fuck about anything else that's happening.
Nicholas Hoult is like, I paid my $1,450 to be here. Yeah. I love this food, and I'm here because I'm a fan, and I'm just gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, what you find out a little bit later in the movie why he wasn't disturbed by anything that happened.
He knew what was gonna happen.
Yeah, he was in on it. He knew what was going down.
But he, much like all the people there at the compound, they are very much, yes sir, yes sir. They're brainwashed. This is the cult of Slowick, and everybody lives and dies by the Slowick word.
Yeah, which was awesome because what Slowick's like, I'd let you know what's going to happen, and your date canceled, so you brought her to die. And
even Anya Taylor-Joy is like pissed.
She starts speaking a lot of them when she gets pulled off of them.
Yeah, because at this point, later on in the movie, after Slowick pretty much says, yeah, everybody here is going to die. Just so you guys know, nobody's getting out of here alive.
Because Anya Taylor-Joy's character choice, like, do you want to die with the pretentious people? Or do you want to die with us, the service people?
Which he basically says, which is what you are. You're an escort, so you are part of a service industry.
Yeah.
After people start dying, or his sous chef kills himself, he insists that everybody still stick around because the courses aren't over. Yeah. And all of the courses...
you can't leave.
No, and you can't die until we finish each of these courses, which have a theme in each one of them. Because I think, is the next one the one where he kills his... the guy who's tied up? Wasn't that his financier?
His angel investor, yeah. It's the fallen angel. Because his angel investor has 3 of the people that work for him are at the restaurant. But no, that wasn't the next course. The next course was the tacos with all their hidden secrets kind of
yes, they
printed onto the taco shells.
Yes, everybody has like their dirty secrets. Kind of, I don't know what kind of machine you use to like embroider or to like laser print onto a taco shell.
Me either, but yeah.
But each of them, like, I know, didn't Nicholas Hoult have a picture of him, like, taking pictures of the food, even though he was told not to?
Not to, yeah.
Everybody else has, like, pictures or photo documents of, like, their shady activities going on.
Yeah, the 3 finance guys have photo printed of, like, tax returns of a false company, and they were like, how'd you guys get this? We're so screwed. It's like, no, our investor owns you guys. They can't turn us in. Which brings to the next course, which was the fallen angel, which the angel investor was just submerged into the water.
Just tied up and just submerged and drowned. But then when it leads into our next course, you find out that Slowick is a lot of things, but he is fair because he realizes that he has been in the wrong sometimes.
Yeah.
And did he sexually harass one of his workers?
Yeah, he tried to sleep with one of his workers multiple times, and then when she turned around, he kind of completely, like, stopped speaking to her.
And he realizes that was wrong, so he gives her the opportunity to stab him.
Yeah.
And she does, and so, hey, fair is fair.
What was it called? The Fall of Man? And they let all the guys that are there run. Give them 45-second head start.
And they have an opportunity to escape, but if they can't, then it's back into time to finish the course.
No one escapes.
No one escapes the island. You good? They're not gonna escape. And then I think that after that is when Nicholas Hoult has his big scene.
So that's when it's revealed to Anya Taylor-Joy that she was brought there knowing that she was going to be killed.
He just wanted to get there. Yeah,
exactly.
And much like how anybody else would be, you'd be pissed.
Yeah. So she punched him a couple times, like pull her off her, and then he's like, "So you're a big foodie, you know all this. Cook."
Yeah, Slowick says cook if you're so good, because this entire time Nicholas Hoult has been insufferable, like trying to analyze the food and say, "Oh, I know how to do that," and "Oh yeah, I have one of those at home," and "Oh yeah, this is how they do this," and he's like, "Well, if you're so good, cook."
I love when he finished cooking. It had the little menu descriptor on it. It was
shit.
Nicholas's bullshit.
Nicholas's bullshit. Oh yeah, every time there's a course served.
Yeah, undercooked lamb, unedible leek, and shallot butter sauce.
Every time a course is served, they have a description of what the food is, much like how like you're watching a food channel.
Yeah.
And Nicholas's bullshit, and
Slowick tries it, and he's like,
I
can't believe this is this bad.
And you just see Nicholas Holt's just his spirit broken.
Yeah, and Ray Fiennes hugs him. You don't hear what he whispers in his ear,
but
you just see him take off the chef jacket, walk outside, walk out of the scene.
And I will say this: Nicholas Hoult did some acting that you just see a man's spirit breaking,
completely broken. Like that face acting in that scene was so good because you just see everything you thought he knew,
and he knew nothing.
Is wrong, yeah.
And he is like meeting. It's like this thing where they say you're never supposed to meet your heroes.
Never want to meet, yeah.
And and he meets his hero, and he has an opportunity to impress his hero, and your hero just completely
destroys you.
Just destroys you.
That's rough.
But
which I think kind of shows something. Like, I know I've worked in restaurants and I've been a cook, so it shows the difference of like being at home cooking for yourself, and like a lot of people are like, oh, I can cook at home, I can probably do a restaurant. It's a completely different ball game when you're cooking in a restaurant.
And I've done food truck work.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's one thing when you're like, when you order like food and it's like, oh yeah, this and that. It's another thing, especially when you have to do it for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And you have to, you can't take your time a lot of the time. You have to.
No, a lot of times you have to make it right, but you also have to do it in a short amount of time, which and you can't really fuck up. So
yes, it makes you, if you've worked in the food industry, you can appreciate this movie on another level.
Yeah, especially seeing Nicholas when he finally gets to the kitchen cooking and feels the pressure of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Completely cracks because he was probably one of those foodies that only cooked at home or like for videos and stuff, but never actually cooked.
You don't have people demanding
type of pressure. Yeah.
When you have people demanding, like, I need my food like now, and you have to get it out. Yeah. Which, are we leading into near the end now? Because at this point, he's talked to Anya Taylor-Joy and said, yeah, you're going to die, but you can either die with them or us.
Yeah, and she's like, I'll die with you guys. Cool. Go get this barrel out of the smokehouse for me.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of doing that, she breaks into his house.
Yep.
Finds out some things about her, and then gets attacked by Elise. Because Elise, does she not know everyone's going to die? She's like, you're not replacing me.
Didn't she also find Nicholas Holt's body?
Yeah, as she's walking to go get the crate, you just see in this room, she walks past, he's just hanging there.
Yeah, he couldn't deal with the fact that he was so bad at cooking that he killed himself.
Yeah. So she gets into this fight with Elise. Basically, they're scrapping over a knife, and she ends up killing Elise and freaks out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes back with the barrel, kind of interrupts what they were doing. She's like, here you go.
And I think the ending is probably the most famous scene.
Yeah.
That people take away from it.
He's like, yeah, all right, time to get ready for the final course. And she's like, hold up.
Yeah.
I'm not happy. I need to send this food back because it sucks.
Yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy has had it at this point. She's like over it at this point.
She's like, can you just get me a basic fucking cheeseburger?
Yeah, and you see him kind of like, his eyes kind of light up, and he's like, we can do a cheeseburger.
And he kind of gets excited about making this cheeseburger for her, which kind of ties back to one line he had with her halfway through the movie where he told her, he's like, I really haven't felt joy for cooking for anybody in a long time.
And it's actually, as satirical as this movie is, it's kind of a beautiful sequence.
Yeah.
Because he asked for the specifications. I think she asked for like crinkled fries or something like that.
She's like, I just want a basic cheeseburger.
Nothing
American
fancy.
Cheese. He's like, yeah, that's the best cheese for a cheeseburger. Because it melts. And she's like, can I have fries?
Of course.
It's like Julian cut or Kringle cut. Yeah.
Crinkle cut.
Yeah.
And we see him making it in the kitchen, and you just see a smile on his face because he's
actually happy cooking this burger.
Because it's like he's finally making something without having to worry about the pretentiousness. He's making something literally for somebody to enjoy rather than critique.
Yeah, it's also full circle because when she broke into his house, she saw where he got to start, which was a place called Howie's Hamburgers.
Yeah. And
so he's kind of going back to his basics.
It's very reminiscent of the ending of Ratatouille, of when if you've ever seen that, and the food critic is like remembers his childhood.
Yeah, and then she eats a little bit of it. She's like, "It's really good,"
and he's happy.
Yeah, but my eyes are bigger than my stomach. Can I get this to go?
He's like, of course. And
then he lets her leave.
I love that during this entire thing, everybody's just letting this happen.
They're all just staring, like,
because everybody else is like just watching all of this unfold, and none of them try to jump up and be like, me too, me too. They just let it happen.
They already subscribe to the fact that they're dying.
And so they let Anya Taylor-Joy, they give her a goodie bag, a little doggy bag.
She pays the $10 for the burger and leaves.
But it's not over because it's final course time. It's dessert time.
What is a spin on a classic? The s'more.
It's delicious.
Yeah, you see him start putting like cocoa powder all over the floor, and then like a caramel and marshmallow like cream design throughout the floor and the tables.
Put a hat on everybody.
A giant chocolate hat on everybody's head, followed by a mushroom, like a giant mushroom necklace.
A marshmallow kind of necklace. And they set fire to the place.
Yeah, and they all burn alive. Which leads to like one of my favorite like cinematic scenes, because it panned back to Anya Taylor-Joy boat, and she's eating the burger, watching it, and you see like the building blow up in her eye.
Oh yeah, eye shots like that are really cool.
And then it panned back to the building. I was like, oh, that's such a great shot.
And she's eating the burger and then wipes her mouth with the menu.
Yeah,
and that's how the movie ends.
Yeah, such a great movie.
That's the menu. And I remember seeing the trailer for this back in 2022 and going, all right, this looks interesting. I was thinking it was going to just be, I was like, oh, it looks like Ray Fiennes is playing like a Gordon Ramsay type person that goes on a kind of killing spree. I was like, I might go see that. I didn't think it was going to be as funny as it was.
See, I've never heard of this movie. I just scrolling through HBO Max one day, and I saw it. I was like, you know what? The cast looks good. I'll give it a shot. And it was amazing. I was like, "This is
Isn't
awesome."
that great? Isn't that great when you're not expecting really anything, and then it's kind of like how I felt when I went to go see Cabin in the Woods, and I just thought it was going to just be a generic Cabin in the Woods movie, and then it turns out to be way more.
Yeah, when you go in something with like low to no expectations, and it blows you out of the water. Yeah, it's great. Yeah,
it was.
But this is a movie. Even if you came in with high expectations, it would meet it.
I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it at home, and it was just one of those things that one of my family members was like, "Hey, why don't we watch it?" And I was like, "All right, sure." I've been meaning to kind of check it out, and then I watched it, and I think I definitely have a different kind of humor than I love. Not in your face humor. I love this kind of humor. I love dark humor. Dry and sometimes satirical humor. I was laughing every 5 minutes.
Yeah. Nicholas Holt's character was cracking me up because even at scenes where everyone in the restaurant's panicking and freaking out, he's just sitting there eating, just chowing down what was in front of him. Did not care. I was like, oh, that's hilarious, dude. I'm
gonna go ahead and say, since we didn't get into it, but this is also my favorite scene of the movie, and I have memorized it by heart because I feel I can relate to this level of pettiness. At one point, John Leguizamo's in this movie, and he's an actor. And at one point, he asks Slowick, or he's talking to Slowick and wondering why everybody's here. And Slowick gives him the reason why John Leguizamo's character is there.
I love that scene, yeah.
This is my favorite. John Leguizamo is an actor, and he did a children's movie called Calling Dr. Sunshine. And so Slowick is like, do you want to know why you are here? He said, I saw the movie Calling Dr. Sunshine, and I did not enjoy it.
He's like, on a Sunday matinee, my first day off in weeks.
He said, it was a Thursday, my one day off in months, a precious day. And he said, And John Leguizamo is trying to plead with him, like, look, I'm just an actor. I didn't
Yeah.
make the movie. He's like, yes, but seeing your face in that movie and seeing you now, it haunts
I love how
me.
it tied it into like a more serious reason. He's like, seeing you in that movie, I realize what happens when artists lose their passion.
Yes.
And your face in that movie haunts me. And then he's like, what about the girl I'm with? She's
Oh,
my
yeah.
assistant. And he's like, where did you go to college? Yeah, where?
Brown.
Student loans?
Nope.
Dead.
Yeah, he said, sorry, you're dying.
Yeah.
That whole sequence is the funniest bit of the entire movie for me.
Oh, Ray Fiennes.
That Ray Fiennes is hilarious to me.
Yes.
Just the level of pettiness of I could identify it to my core when he's like, I saw the movie and I did not enjoy it, and I saw it on my day off, and it was
I wasted a little bit of free time I had on this movie. It sucked.
Yeah,
So
it sucked. So I'm killing you. And I was like, I saw your passion. You know, it just, when an artist loses their drive and their passion, and then even John Leguizamo was like, you're right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I did it for the paycheck.
I did it for the pay. What about her? Where'd you go to school? Brown. Suit and loans? No, sorry, you're dying.
All right. So is there an actor you would kill for a role in any other movie that's made you so mad?
Oh, that's a good... While you think about that, I just want to say this. I don't know if it's true, but I hope it is. Originally, John Leguizamo was supposed to be originally played by Daniel Radcliffe. And Daniel Radcliffe was supposed to be playing himself, Daniel Radcliffe. And there was a movie that he was in with James McAvoy where he played like Igor or Frankenstein.
Is it like I, Frankenstein or something like that?
Something like I, Frankenstein. And originally the line was supposed to be, I saw the movie I, Frankenstein, and I did not enjoy it. I don't know if that's true or if that's just... And it would just add another layer of awesome because that's Voldemort and Harry Potter. That I love... In my mind, that's canon. That was... I just wanted to throw that in there. All right, so you said, is there an actor that has made me feel like that way of like you've lost your drive and it just pisses me off?
No, that just has to be they lost their drive, or just a portrayal in their movie pissed you off so much.
Do you have one in mind? Because I'm trying to think.
I do.
Who?
Rooney Mara from A Nightmare on Elm Street.
You really hated her that much?
The fact that she's had so many other great performances, but she fucking sleepwalks through A Nightmare on Elm Street. She did it for a fucking paycheck, pisses me off.
Damn, 2 F-bombs in a row. You must really feel some kind of way.
She was fucking terrible in that movie. Like, that was the whole thing, and, like, a lot of people talk about it when they talk about that movie. Is how she was just there for a paycheck. She doesn't like horror movies. She doesn't like A Nightmare on Elm Street. She did it for a paycheck.
That's kind of how Jennifer Lawrence was in the later X-Men movies, where it was like... Yeah. That's what people were saying in the last one she was in, where it was like she didn't even want to be there, and she was happy to get killed off.
So it makes me mad when I see her. It's like, you're so good. But a movie that means so much to me, you couldn't give a shit. So fuck you.
I am trying to think if there is anything that I've watched where I was like, God, you're ruining this for me. That's tough. I mean, I don't know why the first thing that comes to mind is from from Hanukkah, but I mean, I don't even feel that much hatred for that guy. I don't know though.
For you, it's just that entire movie.
That one girl from Black Christmas.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've never seen her in anything else, so I can't really be like I'm disappointed either.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I can think of something by the end of it, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I think it's also the fact that it's like, if she was just a bad actress, I'd be like, you know what? They fucked with casting. But she's so good in other stuff.
You're like,
that makes me so mad.
You're like, I've seen you in good things.
Yeah, I've seen you do great work, but in a movie that means so much to me, you just said, fuck it.
I always get her and Kate Mara, the movies that they've been in, mixed up. I'm trying to remember which one was in the dragon tattoo, the girl with the dragon tattoo, versus the one that was in House of Cards. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But, I mean, I don't even... that movie feels like so long ago since I've even seen it that I can't
Rooney Mara was the one with the girl with the dragon tattoo.
And you're talking about... And who's the one in Nightmare?
Rooney Mara.
Oh, so that is the same actress.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, she's a good actress.
Yeah.
It's we're gonna have to review that movie at some point because it's been so long since I've even seen it, and I've defended it so many times. Maybe if we need to watch it just so I can be like, all right, I've defended this movie a couple times, but it has been a long time since I've seen it.
I don't want to watch it.
Well, that's even more reason that we need to now.
All right, so let's get into. Do you have a favorite kill of the movie?
Really. I mean, other than the group kill at the end, there was only like 2 others.
Yeah.
That's why I said my favorite scene was the John Leguizamo scene. If you have a favorite scene, you want to do favorite scene? Because the only other kill I can think of is Nicholas Hoult killing himself just because he's so upset.
See, yeah, the Nicholas Hoult cooking scene is probably my favorite scene.
You just see that man break.
Yeah. It's a good scene, great storytelling, and it's funny. Mm-hmm. But you also see great acting in the scene with Nicholas Hoult. You see a lot. I appreciate that talent right there.
Nicholas Hoult does a lot with his eyes.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I'm gonna go with that scene.
I'm going to next season or around Christmas time. I'm going to give you the gift of like a buzzer of some sort that when I start over talking, you buzz it, and I will shut up for like 2 minutes because I do that way too much. Yeah. That's going to be my Christmas present to you because I have to keep stopping myself from talking over you. That could be yeah, and I already told you my favorite scene, which is that. So, ratings. So to start off with technicals, I'm gonna give it a 9. 9.
I think this is a beautifully shot movie. The score is good, so yeah, I'm gonna go with a 9.
I'm gonna go 8.5.
8.5.
Technical, it was really good, very shot. And again, I'm always a fan. I love how some of it was made to look like food show, like when they show the food and then it's like the description at the bottom, or they have that fancy scene of you talking about with shooting, seeing the explosion via her eyes. And I always like a story that is small and like in a confined area.
Yeah.
So that kind of goes into story, but I mean the fact that you have to just keep it all in one room.
So what are you giving it for story?
Story, I'm also going to give it 8.5. Pretty original.
Yeah, I'm right there with you with an 8.5 for story. It's an original story. And the uniqueness of this concept, I think it's kind of really hard to get right, but they do.
And I'll even say at the very beginning, it's funny how it flips because initially you're kind of with Nicholas Holt's character. You're kind of identifying with like, this guy really loves food and this is his passion. And Anya Taylor-Joy she's there, but she doesn't quite get it.
Yeah.
Sometimes she'll make a little remark and it's like, hey, just let the guy enjoy his food. But then near the end, you're like, no, fuck this guy.
This guy's an asshole. He's an awful person. Yeah. And I think this is a movie that very easily could have been really bad.
Yeah, it was
if they miscast or... Yeah. Went a different way, so
it was perfectly cast.
Oh yeah,
like it was, and like I couldn't imagine anybody else playing Slowick. Anya Taylor-Joy was great, and Nicholas Hoult played his part fantastic. And even the side characters were supposed to be pretentious kind of jerks, which they played.
Yeah, and they played it all perfectly. So I think enjoyment. I enjoy this movie so much. So I'm gonna give it a 9.5.
I'm giving it a 9. I mean, 9 is about the highest as I've given like anything in terms of enjoyment. It's hard for me to give, and I off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that I just go perfect. You know what I mean? But 9 is about... Yeah,
we've yet to give out any 10th thing, but yeah.
9 is about the highest I could go for something I really, really, really enjoy. But I'm looking for my perfect movie.
I could see myself rewatching this as much as I rewatched Scream, and I also put that at a 9.5, so I have to put it up there.
Yeah, so mine is 8.5, like 8 and 9. It wasn't, or did I say 8.5 for Story?
Yeah, you had 8.5, 8.5, and then 9.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the highest score I've given anything, I think.
So 26 out of 30. And then I went 9, 8.5, and 9.5, which is a 27 out of 30.
This might be the highest rated movie we've watched.
I think so, yeah. Because I think if I had a list like my top 5 favorite horror movies, I think I put this at 3.
Would you even
behind Scream and Nightmare on Elm Street?
Would you even classify this as horror?
Yeah, It's a stretch, but it is a horror comedy. If you look up,
Yeah, I mean, there's
yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's not, sometimes it's kind of hard to. Again, it's kind of like with thrillers that
yeah,
I put them in the same vein. This is anything that has to do with kind of like macabre or entering into like morbid kind of subject matter like this, where people are being killed off. I can lump it into the horror category.
yeah. It's categorized as a horror thriller.
Okay, but I mean, it should have had comedy in there because it's really
Yeah,
funny,
it leads into the comedy perfectly. So yeah, this is our highest rated movie.
which I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and now you got to follow it with a good movie.
Oh, I kind of already knew what I was. Well, it was going to be between two.
All right.
One was either going to be my franchise, much like Scream is yours, Saw is
Yeah,
mine.
yeah.
But I was like, no, I don't know if I want to do Saw as much as I like it. But I decided to go with a movie that I don't think gets nearly enough love, but I put on the same pedestal as Cabin in the Woods. And I don't know if we've done this one, but I wanted to do Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
We haven't reviewed it. I know we talked about it a bunch.
We've mentioned it in passing,
I know we talked about it a little bit when we did Cabin in the Woods. So, all
but
right.
we never really gave it a full breakdown.
No.
So
Okay. Yeah.
and that is a movie that I can watch. I've watched it way more than Cabin in the Woods, probably because it's also a 90-minute movie.
I feel like I watch Cabin in the Woods more than Tucker Dale vs. Evil, but
But
yeah,
yeah,
I mean it's good. So
yeah. So not as good as The Menu probably, but it's one that I've watched a lot.
yeah,
So I'm perfectly happy with that one being my wrap up one for my pick of our season of grab bag picks.
it's okay. Like I know my last one probably isn't like cinematically a good movie,
Hmm.
but I know it's a movie I enjoy. So
Yeah, that's kind of like,
that's how we're gonna end. Or it was. I'm not gonna pick it anymore, but or I was gonna end it on Black Phone, which is a great movie, but
it's like these last two picks are going to be our cheeseburgers.
yeah,
It's not nothing super fancy, but I can enjoy it every time.
yeah. I watched this movie on. Yeah,
Is that going to be yours?
Black Phone. No,
Oh, it was going to be, but
I was thinking about it, but Black Phone's a movie I don't watch that often.
hmm
I know it's great. It's long.
yeah. You wanna know something?
What?
Still only halfway through it.
Yeah, no, we were supposed to review it. Never did it, but you only watched half of it.
I've only watched half of it, and weren't we supposed to have like Spencer on or something?
Yeah, I don't get how you only watched half of that movie. It's so good.
Yeah, life happens.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't know. Maybe I was annoyed that we had to reschedule. I was like, well, now there's no point in me even watching this anymore. But
Yeah.
he was still in the basement
Yeah.
when I but maybe we'll review that at some point in the future,
Yeah.
just on our own. But
Yeah.
in the meantime, next time, or for my finale of my grab bag pick, we're watching Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
And I'd like to thank you all for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed as much as we enjoyed watching the menu.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna finish watching it again as soon as.
Yeah. All right. Have a good week, everybody.
See ya. Hey everybody, thanks for listening to Body Bag Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe and leave us a comment as to what you'd like to hear us review, or any horror movie topics you'd like to hear us rant and rave about.
And while you're at it, you can find us on Twitter at BodyBagPod and on Instagram at BodyBagPodcast.
Thanks, and we'll see you next time.